Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Tech Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but we want to give a shout out to our partners, like always, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, the Global Community of Women in High School Sports, We Coach, and the Florida Coaches Coalition. You've heard me say many times, these are four great organizations. You should really add them to your network. And now, don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. We're going to give our sponsors a shout out. These are all companies that I used as an athletic director or as a coach. You should be using them too. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support. Gipper is the official social media graphics solution of the Educational AD Podcast. And if you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to show you how to start creating world-class content for your social media channel. Your students are on social media, and if you're not, you're really missing a great opportunity. Celebrate your athletes, promote your teams, join the 3,000 plus college and high school athletic programs that use Gipper. It's professional graphic design made simple. Mention the podcast, you'll get a nice discount. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association platform for us. It's also your one-stop for things like scheduling, student-athlete clearance and eligibility, coaches clearance, and a whole lot more. As an athletic director, I used Home Campus every day, and it was just great, and you'll love it too. Go to homecampus.com to get signed up. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards, your school's Hall of Fame, or just share your school's diverse history and your proudest moments, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention this podcast, and they'll give you a nice discount too. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, more customization. Hometown is here to help you make the best solutions. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com. That's the website, snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms designed to help you do your job better. If you're looking for a fundraiser, stop right here. SnapRaise is hands down the best one available. But you've got a lot more. You've got Snap Connect, you have Snap Store, you have Snap Manage, and a whole lot more. To see them all you have to do is go to snapraise.com. That's snapraise.com. We want to thank Sideline Interactive. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo to see their indoor score tables and scoreboards in action. Their products not only generate income for your athletic department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Check out their products today. We want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, and it was just great. But when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that allowed them to coach our kids at the highest level. Go to huddle.com, see why we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users and turn your school into a Huddle school. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic Surveys can create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. Athletic directors already hear back from the complainers, the 2% that want to gripe about everything. Athletic Surveys connects you with the 2%, but they also connect you with the 98% that support your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent or your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create that custom survey that lets you track the good and the things you want to improve on. That's athleticsurveys.com. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Tech Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. I've got a really cool guest today, and the tech, as we get into this, you're going to see it's a little bit different application, but still, I think it's very appropriate for our listeners. Our guest today is Dawn Weatherwax. Dawn, among other things, she's a registered dietitian. She is a certified strength and conditioning specialist. You know, that degree does not come easily. She's a national speaker. She's an author, very well known in this world. And she's also the founder of the Sports Nutrition Academy. We're going to hear a little bit more about that, but Dawn Weatherwax, welcome to Tech Tuesday.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Dawn and I connected recently. We got to talking. I just thought she'd be a great guest. And if you haven't guessed by now, you know, the topic's going to be on sports nutrition, fueling athletes. And I'm going to kind of get out of the way. Dawn, we've kind of divided this Tech Tuesday up into three sections. And I just think it's perfect. You talk about three challenges for ADs to do a better job in this application of tech. And here, we're not talking about a computer. We're not talking about an app. We're talking about the actual student athletes. So go ahead and share a little bit about, these challenges.
Yeah. So, when you're an athletic director, you got different types of challenges, but the top three. So the first one is just lack of education around this topic. So many coaches, athletes, parents lack the knowledge to make informed decisions about their nutrition, because it's complex, because we're all different. We all have different needs. Even within our own family, we could be different. And what's fascinating is, I don't think most people know, but 74% of athletes seek out their nutrition information from a non-expert. And so either magazines, friends, and social media. And then on top of that, your coaches, 55% of coaches are using the internet to get their nutrition information. And then you forward that to, they gave them a quiz and said, okay, let's check your nutrition knowledge to the athlete and to the coach. And what they found is over 70% of these athletes and coaches could not answer general nutrition questions correctly, which you can see the conundrum here in high school or middle school athletics is that your athlete, and then they tend to go to the coach a lot in this instance because of the age, that we're not doing well with the knowledge aspect of education. And what's really crazy, John, and what makes this better for all of us is there is an answer. Is it's been shown if they're given the right tools and the right nutrition information and knowledge, they will actually make better choices. And so giving them that type of education is, as you can see, very much needed to get this type of stuff, getting them to grow optimally, perform academically their best, and just, be the best athlete they would like to be.
Yeah, you touch on a couple of really key points there. The amount of misinformation out there. I don't think coaches or ADs or even parents are trying to, do wrong for their athletes or their kids, but there's so much good information out there that people aren't aware of. And then, as you mentioned, the misinformation that is applied in the wrong way. And for our listeners, I want to emphasize, Dawn is not just a registered dietitian, but she's a CSCS, and she speaks from a position of knowledge and authority. So let's go and jump past this, obvious, lack of education that many coaches and ADs have in this area. They want to do better, but they just don't know how.
Right.
What's the next challenge that you've seen that is kind of getting in the way of fueling our athletes properly?
Right. And I do want to add one quick thing that maybe will even help either more viewers too is um, I'm also an athletic trainer too. So I understand the injury piece of that. So that helps with this as well. But the next piece that we see is right, and it's probably you already know this, budget and sustainability. Adequate nutrition is expensive, and many athletic departments may not have the budget to provide high quality nutrition for athletes. So, what can you do in that instance? Just to give you some knowledge facts, right? We want to educate. So, how do we start this? How do we come up with a solution to this issue, right? Is you start with yourself, right? As an athletic director, you want to walk the walk and start to show how you can demonstrate proper nutrition from where you're getting your expert information from. And just to give you like a tip that you could provide, but most people don't know this, is that if an athlete or herself is 1% dehydrated, our performance can decline up to 12%. Again, if you're 1% dehydrated, performance can decline up to 12%. Another cool fact, if you're 1% dehydrated, then your ability to track an object can decrease up to 10%. Think about that. So that's processing speed. That's academics, that's your brain. And so just hydration affects that because 95% of our first movement is controlled by eyesight. Now, what makes it worse is 76% of student athletes, more probably our whole staff, ourselves, show up to a morning practice, a morning competition, or even to school 1% dehydrated, 76%. And then 66% show up 1% dehydrated the rest of the time. So there's your education piece, right? You provide a great tip. Now, we have a big budget issue. How are you going to do something that's sustainable with a budget that we're just trying to raise money to pay to play, or just to play, because some states you have to generate all your revenue just to play a sport. And so how can we take that into a fun hydration challenge? So as an AD, you could start bringing your own, you bring your own fluid. This is easy, right? This is cheap because maybe we just bring a fluid bottle. And you say, okay, staff, or as we have coaches meeting, I would like you to bring your water bottle or your fluid bottle. And then you create a point system and have a fun contest. Because in athletics, most of the time, they're pretty competitive. So you start creating a fun challenge on just bringing it. I don't care if you drink anything out of it, but just have it with you. And then guess what? The coach can take that same tip that the AD shared with them, and then how do you apply it to your student athletic population? And they could do the same thing. Hey, we're going to break you up into 4s or 5s, and it's a great team building because they're more apt to do something for a team than maybe themselves, and they just have to bring a fluid bottle to practice or competition, and whoever does it the most times, gets a prize at the end. You can even make it a school activity, right? You could just see this, and you could go, who brings their own fluid bottles at the lunch table or in class, and have really a lot of fun and go, okay, on announcements, all right, kids, this is the beginning of class, take a sip of your water or take a sip. And at the end of class, the announcements come on and go, okay, it's time to take a sip. And so now you got everybody involved, and you could have teachers against students, who knows, you could have so much fun. And then that creates a sustainability because you could create one contest the one week, something else. And this is actually it doesn't cost anything, because I guess it could cost if you don't have a fluid bottle somewhere, but you can see how you could have fun and create a lot of team bonding, and everybody needs help with nutrition. So we can create that, cultivate that community and sustain the knowledge that we're talking about. And so, that's how you could do something like that and implement it. And so then you got your education piece, and then you got the budget and sustainability piece.
No, I love the idea of talking the talk and walking the walk, and the stats that you throw out. That 1% And that wasn't just athletic performance, that was academic performance, the visual tracking. I mean, we talk about Olympic athletes that, they're trying to get that 1%. Well, that 1% is important for high school athletes as well. And it's so easy. Sounds like it's so easy to take care of. Just bring that water bottle, start carrying that water bottle instead of that soda that I think a lot of us have done over the years. And again, you talk about the cost. You can't just say anymore, well, you got to eat healthy, or you just have a good breakfast, because it's so, every kid's family situation and coach's situation is different. So we got to come up with some better ways to help our kids out. And again, bringing the water bottle, very cool. You talked about coaches and ADs. They just don't have all the education in this particular area. You talked about some of the budget constraints and gave some solutions too. What's the third challenge that you've noticed in this area?
Right. So you probably already kind of mentioned it, is now you have time. So you talk about that challenge and it sounds pretty cool. All right. What's the solution to that time constraint? You want to do something, but you go, wow, this is just another thing that I would like to do, but when can I do it? And here's the deal. You could go, okay, you might have a student council, right, that they could take this on. You might have a health class, and it could be part of their fun, class, maybe grade or an assignment or a project that they could do. As far as coaches, you could delegate it to a team captain, and they're in charge of the challenge. Or maybe there's somebody that really, enjoys or is enthusiastic about hydration and fueling, and they can take lead. So this is one that you find these quick and fun, cool things, and you can go crazy with it. And then you get the athletes or the student council, and now they're going to even have more fun with it. And they can come up with some pretty cool games or activities that are so doable and don't cost really any money to do. And so that also helps with the time. And then, the other thing is just, you can have other fun things like Fuel Tuesdays, where every Tuesday you're going to give a tip, or noodle nights, where you have a pasta dinner and then you could, just getting people together and fueling together. You could do just even more fun challenges. So I think when it comes to this, we know we can't feed everybody. We know we can't give them all that they need for all of their demands, for all of their maybe nutrition situations, and like you said, budget. But this is something where now we're following through. We educate, right? We then, how do we implement that? We could do something that really doesn't cost hardly anything to do and have a lot of fun at it. And that's going to help the teachers. That's going to help your staff. And 76% dehydration is not just for the athlete, that's for us. We are not hydrating enough. And it doesn't have to be just water, just so you know. So, just a rule of thumb, because we're hitting hydration so hard, it's half your weight in fluid ounces a day, plus, another 10 or 20 ounces per activity per hour. And I'll say that again, half of your weight in fluid ounces a day, plus 10 or 20 ounces of fluid per hour. Now, some of us need more because we sweat. Another way to think about it, because I've come up with my own quick view, is you just drink, 20 to 32 ounces of fluid between 6 and 9. And then you do from 9 to 12, you do another 20 to 24 ounces of fluid. And then from 12 to 3, you do another 20 to 24 ounces of fluid. And then from 6 to 9, you do another. So you can see it. So 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9. That it usually fits a school schedule very well, right? Because after school, and now you can figure out half your weight in fluid ounces a day, plus the 10 or 20 ounces per hour per activity. But you also could just do something like that. And then why you need more in the morning is because you lose fluid at night. And that's why a lot of athletes, student athletes and coaches and ADs show up 1% dehydrated, or 76% show up 1% dehydrated, in the morning. So there you go. Those are things that we could utilize to fit all aspects of those 3 challenges.
Yeah, obviously we're talking about student athletes here, but I love how you continue to bring the coaches and the adults and the ADs back into the conversation. Coaches, when you're coaching that game, how'd you like to be 1% better? That could be a couple of plays that swing the difference between a success and maybe a not success. Dawn, again, you've got great presentation today. I love how you broke it up into those 3 challenges and also offered solutions, but you've got a lot more resources out there. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out and find out more, what's the best way they can get a hold of you, and what are they going to find when they go to your website?
Yeah, so thanks for asking, John. Or Jake, John. Sorry about that, Jake. Boy, listeners, I should get a big emoji, thumbs down on that one. But so my Dawn Weatherwax Sports Nutrition Academy, that's what they'll find on my Sports Nutrition to Go site, because I do 2 things, right? I do see people one-on-one, and I've been doing that for over 20 years. 80% of my population that I work with is actually student athletes between 6 and 18 years of age, but anybody who's interested in their health or college or pro or Olympic, definitely work with. And the great thing about what I do, you could do it with anybody anywhere in the world, which I have. But the academy, the Dawn Weatherwax Sports Nutrition Academy, is fairly new, because what you'll find is something that is built towards the athletic director or the coach or the student or the parent, the strength coach, the athletic trainer, the teacher maybe in health class, where it is nutrition to build that athlete to be the best they can, optimize growth, athletic agility, and their academic performance. And Fuel does that, right? And so, if we go back to those 3 things, right? Educate, well, what resource are you using? And so now I've filled that void of, hey, here I am, 20 plus years of experience with this age group. My sister's an athletic director, so shout out to my sister, Clarinda Weatherwax. She's the athletic director at Bradshaw Mountain in Arizona. So, that's the main reason I even got in contact with Jake today, because she listens to your podcast. And she's like, Dawn, I think he would be great contact, because you're looking for resources that are quick and easy by an expert that you can trust, and go, hey, so I have a hydration protocol in there. And now it's like less than a 10 to 20 minute course, but it has a 1-minute video, and you can play that. You could play it to your athletes. The strength coach could use that at the end of their class. You could use that for your Fuel Tuesdays. And it would break down how much fluid they need and how much and what amount and all of that. And it provides a lot of that, how to calculate fuel needs and what does a day look like to consume. And then budget, guess what? It's very budget and sustainability, because currently it's like $500 minimum for a whole year, or up no more than $10 per athlete to have unlimited access for the whole year to this resource. And you can ask me questions anytime during the year in chat. And then it's a turnkey, right? At time constraints. All you need is a coupon code, and an email invite to the parents or whoever, and voila, you get a coupon code or an email, and we could even launch a presentation, Zoom or in person, but mostly Zoom, to launch it and say, hey, how to fuel your personal best and get into the academy so you can continue hydrating properly. 76% of athletes don't eat enough. So how do we take care of that? Because we have mental health issues. We have anxiety and depression. We need them to fuel and stay healthy. And again, that affects their academics, and that's first and foremost. So it just has a tendency to fit all 3 of those. And I'm very excited about it and to share that with you. And I thank you for asking.
Oh, no, absolutely. So the website is Sports Nutrition to Go, or is there an abbreviation?
Thank you. It's S is in sports, N is in nutrition, the number 2, and the letter G. If you even Google Dawn Weatherwax Nutrition, like Dawn liquid soap and the weather outside and wax, like wash your car in good weather and wax it at the end, you got Dawn Weatherwax and sports nutrition, you'll probably find me. But it's www.s as in sports, N as in nutrition, and the number 2 and the letter G.com. And for those people who still use a phone number, which I actually have a landline still, it's 513-779-6444. So 513-779-6444. And yes, I would be happy to talk to you on the phone. We do not have to do everything by Calendarly and Zoom. So I love to do both. So.
Well, again, I've been to the website, a ton of information, and the program that you just mentioned is available now for schools or teams, coaches to sign up for. Dawn Weatherwax's Sports Nutrition Academy and Sport Nutrition to Go website. Thanks so much for coming on Tech Tuesday, and all the best moving forward. We're going to have to get you back on for an interview down the road.
I would love the opportunity. So it's been a delight. Thank you. And thank you to all your listeners and viewers. And I wish you all a great and healthy day.
Oh, well, thanks again for coming on, listeners. I think you got a great resource here. Make sure you reach out. And talking about our listeners, we appreciate you tuning in, and we upload these Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Thanks again for listening. Come back next week for another great tech tip, and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. And before we go, we do want to give our sponsors one more shout out. Homecampus.com. Go to homecampus.com. Information management, student athlete clearance, coaches clearance. Great platform that I used every day as an athletic director. Homecampus.com. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com to get started. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. You heard me say probably one of the best purchases I ever made was a Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. Gipper. Go to gipper.com to start creating world-class marketing content for your school's social media channel. It's so easy, even I can do it. Gipper is also the sponsor of the All-Star Athletic Director book. We're going to have a big book launch at this year's NADC. And they're also going to be the sponsor of the 3rd edition of the Athletic Director's Toolbox coming out December 1st. So go to gipper.com. We want to thank Snap Mobile for their support. Snap is the landing site for an entire suite of platforms, including Snap Raise. Go to snapraise.com to check them all out. We want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention this podcast, you'll get a nice discount. We want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. And finally, athletic surveys. At our school, we use surveys for just about everything, for teachers, for coaches, for parents. And the information that they provide is extremely valuable. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to connect you with your parents and your student athletes. athleticsurveys.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on Tech Tuesday and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks for listening.